how can we know the way? May I suggest that, well, we could follow the organist. I thought about her when I watched that horse, Golden Tempo, I think was his name. She's got the Golden Tempo over here with her way. It's just right, just right. How can we know the way? May I suggest that we look at and follow our young people, the children. Yes, we support young people. We protect them. We honor them. We respect them. We value them. Thomas McAfee is away today, but it's why he gives a children's homily most Sundays. And you should know that all that is quite strategic on my part, for his homily often cleans up after the regular homily whenever needed. So we've got the Creed is doing that, and also Thomas's homily. In contemplating the Apostle Thomas's question, how can we know the way, my mind this week, especially over the last several days, has been hearkening back to the prophet Isaiah. And a little child shall lead them. A little child shall lead them, because it's not about power or status in the eyes of the world. It's about strength through humility, strength through service, strength through fragility, strength through weakness. Our young people have much to teach us. They're not the future of the church, they are the church. In fact, next Sunday, our own Jack Tierney will be preaching. Raise your hand, Jack. Okay. Next Sunday, this service. Young persons shall lead, which is precisely what has been happening in our beloved South Carolina over the last few days. It hasn't really been front page news, but events have occurred in the town of Orangeburg, South Carolina, this week. Orangeburg is about an hour and a half away from here. For those of you that don't know, you just head straight up I-26. There's some other back roads. There are other ways you can get there. But what happens in Orangeburg, and the reason I'm talking about it, it affects you and me. Because no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Any man's death diminishes me, for I am involved in mankind. So wrote that great poet and preacher, dean of St. Paul's in London, John Donne. Apparently what's happened up there in Orangeburg is the lieutenant governor was invited to give the commencement address at South Carolina State University in Orangeburg. Now, you just need to relax, because I'm not going to get into politics. So don't worry. Don't worry. And for those of you that do not know, South Carolina State University is a historically black university. So a number of students were opposed to this invitation to the lieutenant governor to speak at commencement. Now, any protest at South Carolina State, for whatever reason, whether one agrees with the reasons for the protest or not, ordinarily any protest at South Carolina State would be treated with delicacy delicately, because it was back in 1968 that South Carolina State students protested the segregation of a local bowling alley in town. And law enforcement descended upon the town. Students were protesting. Law enforcement shot into a crowd of students. They killed 3 students: Samuel Hammond, Henry Smith, and Delano Middleton. Around 30 others were wounded. The state opened fire on its own people, its own young people. The event would come to be known as the Orangeburg Massacre, and it really has been described as the open wound upon the state of South Carolina. You've heard me speak of it before. It was only in learning about the Orangeburg Massacre that my own eyes were opened to certain injustices. Well, in the exchange this past week between students and the university president, one student gave an impassioned plea. The student said, "South Carolina State has a history of being activist and proactive for standing up for and believing what is right." She said, "We have Smith, Hammond, and Middleton who attended our school who died for what they believed in." Well, the university administration heard the students and the invitation was rescinded. Not a bad idea, particularly given the fraught nature of the political situation today. But unfortunately, the lieutenant governor has since responded by calling these students a woke mob. A mob. Our own young people. Students getting ready to go out into the world. And now some members of the General Assembly, our state legislature, are calling for South Carolina State University to be defunded. Did you hear me say that South Carolina State is a historically black university? It really doesn't matter whether one agrees or disagrees with the students. The question is quite simple. Do we, in the year 2026, do we really want to punish young black students for using their voices in South Carolina, in Orangeburg, of all places? Are we really suggesting to them that they ought to know their place? Coded language. Coded language. For 4 years, when I was just out of college, I've had a lot of jobs in my life. And for 4 years, just out of college, I taught at Burke High School in Charleston. And many of my students went on to study at State. The mascot for Burke is the Bulldogs, and that's not following the Citadel, which is just around the corner. It's South Carolina State Bulldogs. How can we know the way if we do not know and or respect our own history? We sometimes need to be reminded of it and from whence we have come. In their book, it's a powerful book, really well done, their book Justice Deferred by historian Vernon Burton. Vernon lives in Clemson, and Armand Durfner of Charleston. Vernon is a historian, and Armand Durfner is a longtime civil rights lawyer. Vernon's from the upstate town that is known as 96. If you talk to Tom LaRoche, that's what Vernon sounds like. And the town of 96, South Carolina, is located east of the town of Due West. We have the greatest place names. This book has to do with race and the Supreme Court. And the record is not so good. If you think about Dred Scott, Plessy versus Ferguson. So Armin Durfner and Vernon Burton, they point out this. This is what they say. They say, this country had slavery and Jim Crow for 12 generations, 300 years or so. We've only had 2 generations to get over it. 2. The notion that we're done with it, that's crazy. We have to keep working at it. We have to keep working at it. Friends, how can we know the way? We keep working at it because we are involved in humankind. And we follow the one who is the way, the truth, and the life. Amen.